Irish guy, and lads, welcome back to the Prem Catch-Up. Let's take a look at every Premier League game that just happened this weekend, and oh boy, wow. Right, let's go. Man City 2, Arsenal 2. What did we just watch? If you are an Arsenal fan, how are you possibly coping this morning? If I were you, I wouldn't even have the strength to pour myself a bowl of Cocoa Pops without bursting into tears. Lads, Arsenal were given a lot of flack last season for only settling for a 0-0 draw at the Etihad in March, with the hindsight merchants unhelpfully telling them that, oh, they should have gone to win, which seems like an unthinkable task. Lads, I said that if the Gunners won here on Sunday, then I would do a video in a freezing cold lake. Yeah, considering I already have a cold, I'm pretty sure that would have sent me into a coma. And you'd have to bring back James Rutherford. And yet, the Gunners were seconds away from a stunning, title-defining win here after playing over an hour with 10 men. To come back from 1-0 down after Erling Haaland poked in his 100th City goal to then level to a Ricardo Calafiori screamer, forcing Kyle Walker to cry to the ref about how I wasn't ready. Yeah, you clearly also weren't ready to commit to a marriage. Honestly, the guy was petulantly whinging and moaning, more than that baby mama who thinks she's owed half his bank account. But then for Gabriel to lose his man at a corner kick and thump Arsenal 2-1 in front. I mean, do you know how close this Brazilian centre-back was to completing the most heroic ever week in a Gunner shirt? Lads, if Gabriel managed to score winning goals at both Tottenham and Man City, it would elevate him to equaling Thierry Henry's Superman week in April 2004, where he scored 7 goals against Leeds and Liverpool, including a second-half hat-trick against the Reds to preserve their unbeaten, invincible run. Sorry, but if Gabriel had scored the winning goal here, to go with that Spurs winner, oh, Arsenal fans would be ready to lick his toes. But no, Leandro Trossard then gets himself sent off, and he has nobody but himself to blame. I'm sorry, but you've just seen your £100 million star midfielder sit out the North London derby because he was sent off for kicking the ball away, well, nudging the ball away against Brighton. That was harsh, but why? Why, when you were on a yellow card and having just shoulder barged Bernardo Silva, why do you then boot the ball away? Trossard, use your brain. Leaving your teammates exposed and down to 10 men, it is unforgivable. What use is this Belgian winger sulking in the shower, eating a packet of Monster Munch? Kicking the ball away was stupid beyond belief. And do you know what's crazy? This prompted the Sky Studio to obviously discuss the incident, and not only did ex-Arsenal winger Walcott agree with the referee's decision, but he also brought up the Robin van Persie red card against Barcelona in 2011, when he was given a second yellow card for taking a shot 1 second after he was whistled to be offside. And what amazes me is that this is the first time I have ever heard an Arsenal man saying that Van Persie, and I quote, shouldn't have done that. He knew what he was doing. I'm stunned. Lads, there's a YouTube video of that red card with 9.7 million views, with the title being the most disgusting moment and red card in history of football. It's 13 years later and Walcott is actively saying that his teammate was wrong. This is like hearing OJ Simpson confess, but Walcott is fascinatingly honest. I mean, this is someone who, when he was a child, probably admitted to stealing cookies from the jar. I still haven't told my mom that I pooed on her pillow on Christmas 2002. I hope she doesn't watch these vids. But look, Trossard should have gone. He let his club down. And yes, people will say that Jeremy Doku was not punished for the same thing. But no, watch it again. The referee was clearly telling the Belgian to kick the ball back a few meters to where the free kick should have been taken. But lads, the Gunners were heroic to have almost survived a City onslaught with over 80% possession in the second half. Over 30 Man City shots. This was just like the Aguero game against QPR. The second half wasn't a football match. It was Man City knocking on the door every minute of the match against 10 men desperately defending for their lives. And do you know what's crazy? I'll let you in on a little secret. The last time Arsenal won at Manchester City was the same month I bought this scarf. And I'll tell you another secret. It hasn't been washed since. That's genuine, 100% truth, by the way. This has been in swamps, milk baths, you name it, and not a single wash in almost a decade. Grim. West Ham 0, Chelsea 3. Yeah. Chelsea absolutely rolled over West Ham, and lads, Nicholas Jackson celebrated his first goal by doing the Michael Jackson Thriller dance. I get it. It's cute. They're both called Jackson. But I'm sorry, even in the post-match interview, he said he wanted to pay tribute to a legend. Sorry, did this Senegalese striker completely miss the fact that MJ was publicly cancelled 5 years ago? I'm sorry, but Disney are now too scared to show the Simpsons episode with Michael Jackson in it. That classic ep has been purged from existence, thrown into the flames size of Mount Doom. And yet this guy is bigging him up a match of the day. 5 years ago, radio stations were told not to play his classic tunes on the radio. I mean, back in 2019, if you were caught listening to Billie Jean on the bus, you would probably have SJWs forcing you to eat your iPod as punishment. But listen, great couple of goals from Jackson. Is this guy the most unfairly criticized striker in Chelsea history? Because we are so used to seeing a huge collection of Chelsea centre forwards fail, then I think everybody already wrote off this African striker as soon as he was bought from Villarreal. But lads, he's got 18 goals in 40 Premier League games. That's not far off a 1-2 record. I mean, look at the king of Africa, Didier Drogba. When he was 27 years old, 4 years older than Jackson is now, he had 16 goals in his first 40 Premier League games for Chelsea, and he went on to be the club's greatest centre forward of all time. Considering Jackson has been talked about on social media as if he's some blind donkey in front of net, I can only imagine what sort of tweets would have aged horribly about Drogba if that was around 20 years ago. So again, let's put some respect on Jackson's name. But yes, West Ham are brutal, utterly hopeless, and I know it's early doors, but Julian Lopetegui is looking like a poor selection. The Hammers defending was so uncoordinated and brainless. You'd swear the back forward spent the previous night camping on a noisy pig farm. Lopetegui is already at the risk of breaking his changing room by embarrassing new signing Guido Rodriguez by replacing him before half-time. Lads, we could be looking at a gaffer who's already lost his players. Poor old Rodriguez. I haven't seen a Guido that embarrassed since season 1 of Jersey Shore. I never watched that thing. I would sooner rub Badger Wee in my eyes. Aston Villa 3, Wolves 1. Well, would you look at that? Wolves lose again. Let me ask you a question. What did you think of Aston Villa on the 5th of December 2016? I know exactly what you thought. That they were a horrible, spineless, dreadful excuse of a football team after beginning the season with 3 draws, 1 win and 11 defeats. Okay, what about Derby County then? On the 1st of December 2007, after a 1-0 defeat at Sunderland, you also thought they were a gruesome, abject mud puddle of a side. Again, after beginning the season with 3 draws, 1 win and 11 defeats. Of Wolves' last 15 Premier League games, 3 draws, 1 win, and you guessed it, 11 defeats. This 6-month run of form is identical to that of Derby County and Aston Villa, 2 of the worst Premier League sides of all time. And you wonder why I've been so harsh on Gary O'Neill? First of all, the Sunderland team of 2003, who officially became the worst ever Premier League side then with 19 points, only to beat their own pathetic record 2 years later, their first 15 games were infinitely better than Wolves' last 15 games. 3 wins, 5 draws, and only 7 defeats. Are alarm bells ringing yet? Can nobody see just how hideous this rotten patch of form truly is? It's meant to know people actually had a problem with Bournemouth upgrading from him to Andoni Iraola. It reminds me when people thought that Southampton were nutty and out of order for replacing Nigel Adkins with Mauricio Pochettino. Yeah, Pochettino is now the highest paid coach in international football on a $6 million a year salary with the USA, while Adkins is clinging to his job at Tranmere and probably also selling sausages from a van. Wolves, go out there and get a proper manager. I'm telling you now, even Frank Lampard will be a coaching upgrade on this mouse sandwich of a coach. Leicester 1, Everton 1. Play the clip.
So look, I actually think Everton will take the lead, but a 1-0 lead through some Iliman Ndiaye magic. But I think Leicester will grab a last-minute equaliser. I'm not sure why exactly, but the name that is jumping to the forefront of my brain is Harry Winks.
I was so close! Lads, I was so close to a 100% perfect prediction. I got the 1-1 scoreline right. I got the fact that Iliman Ndiaye would open the scoring. And then I said that Harry Winks would score a late equaliser for the Toffees. And the only reason that Winks popped into my brain is because I'm staring at James Alcott's face. Nah, relax, I don't have a photo of him in the toilet or anything. Nah, he was in the video. Oh no, Winks got an assist instead, setting Mavididi up for the equaliser in the middle of a Midland storm. But lads, put some respect on this prediction. Jamie Vardy didn't even score, so I'm having a bone dry Monday. No ice cream for me, hooray! Fulham 3, Newcastle 1. Play the clip.
Newcastle win. This should not be a game you have to think about. What are you thinking about? Obviously, Newcastle are going to beat Fulham. They have done so in the last 6 meetings. Marco Silva has not had a win over Newcastle in 7 years, since Watford left St James's Park with a 3-0 win in November 2017. This is a man who no longer understands how to beat this club. His efforts are now about as feeble as a gerbil sneeze. So again, 1-0 Newcastle win, with Anthony Gordon getting back on the score sheet. And I promise you lads, I've never been more certain of a Magpies win in my life. And to prove it, if Eddie Howe's boys do not leave Craven Cottage with a victory, then I will dunk a bucket of mud over my face.
Thanks, Newcastle. Why?
How? Why did I say this? I was so sure that Newcastle United would not lose to Fulham, and yet here they were gruesomely rolled over like a dead goat. Look, I have to rewind to last week. When I went head-to-head with Lee Judges, this was what his prediction was for Fulham versus West Ham.
Fulham versus West Ham. Goals. No surprise here. Smith Rowe, I think, was going to get one. Iwobi and Nelson's going to get one. Bit of a theme there, all Arsenal players, but there you go. And Bowen for West Ham, so 3-1 to Fulham there.
Yeah, I laughed at him. I derided him. I mocked him for choosing all Arsenal players to score in the 3-1 win. Nah, surely not, Lee. Iwobi, Smith Rowe, and Nelson? Are you just thinking Craven Cottage is now just an Arsenal museum? Yeah, 1 week later, Fulham win 3-1. Against Newcastle, with Smith Rowe and Nelson scoring. Not Iwobi, no, but he did chip in with an assist, and let's be real, even the other Fulham goal scorer, Raul Jimenez, not a former Arsenal player, no, but don't forget, when Smith Rowe, Iwobi, and Nelson were all making their Gunners debuts, Arsenal's head of football was someone whose name was literally Raul. So there were Gunners' fingerprints all over this win. It's almost like Lee was just a weak early. But lads, Newcastle were garbage. For Smith Rowe's strike, Nick Pope showed the wrist strength of a weasel. Shocking. And what's more, Fabian Schär, after being bullied by Raul for the first goal, he then seizes possession high up the pitch, is suddenly one-on-one with Bernd Leno, and just so happens to have Alexander Isak right beside him, ready to tap a pass into the goal for the sweatiest of goals. But no, Schär, the centre-back, chooses to take on the shot himself. Schär refusing to square the ball to Isak was the height of selfishness, and I'm sorry, Fabian, but your greed cost Newcastle the match. Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0. Luis Diaz is an absolute fire. It's mad. During the summer, it seemed that Liverpool fans were content to see him sold, because yeah, while his skill and maverick flair have been there since that move from Porto, the goals haven't really. I mean, his end of season numbers have been 6, 5, and last season 13, with just 8 in the league. And lads, Diaz featured in every single Premier League match bar 1. By now, this season, he's got 5 and 5, which reminds me of another South American Lewis at Anfield. Remember when Suarez first joined Liverpool from Ajax? His end product in finishing was poor. The bloke hit the post so many times and was always being brilliant on the ball. Like when he single-handedly ripped Manchester United apart in just his 4th ever Premier League match. The goals weren't there. Just 4 in his first half season at the club. The following season was improvement, sure, but still, just 11 in the league. He went on a 7-game goal drought. Suarez's finishing was not there, but the following season, he scored 30 goals, including 23 in the league. That early start of the season reminds me of Diaz's start to this season, because Suarez registered 10 goals in his first 12 Premier League appearances that season. Honestly, Diaz, watch this space. Oh, and also, while we're talking about a Uruguayan striker, yeah, one of those scored on Saturday too. Darwin Núñez. What a strike. Southampton 1, Ipswich 1. Oh, Southampton, you must feel grim to have Ipswich Town rock up in your own turf in a tragic battle between 2 of only 3 clubs who know the pain and humiliation of losing a Premier League match 9-0. Honestly, Bournemouth probably felt a bit miffed not to get an invite to the party. But yes, this was a winnable match for Southampton. And you know what? It was a daring selection from Russell Martin, once again thrusting teenage winger Tyler Dibbling into the starting 11 instead of, you know, seasoned internationals like Maxwell Cornet or Ben Brereton Diaz. The plump chicken Ryan Fraser was back in the starting 11 on the wing. Adam Lallana was also sneaked back into the starting 11 for his first Southampton start since the trip to Old Trafford over 10 years ago. I mean, the last time Lallana started a match for the Saints, Dibbling was probably squealing at the Teletubbies while trying not to wee himself. Lads, there were only 4 starters on Saturday who started the opening match against Newcastle a month ago. Martin was making the brave changes and it paid off. Lallana set up Dibbling to score after just 5 minutes, and I wonder if Chelsea are silently regretting letting this mini Grealish leave without a fuss. I mean, Chelsea did all the hard work, stealing him in July 2022 after Dibbling had been at the Saints since the age of 8. He then plays twice for Chelsea under 18s before they just let him return to Southampton after just 2 months. This is a bit like when Man City stole Michael Olise from Chelsea's academy after he had spent 7 years at Stamford Bridge, only to then just bin off this future Bayern Munich and France star after just a few months at the Etihad. Because honestly, lads, Dibbling looks class. And you know what the sad thing is? Purely because he wears his socks around his ankles and plays with a maverick flair, then yeah, on Saturday night, I had a dream that Dibbling was Irish and he actually declared for us, becoming the anti-Grealish. How sad and depressing a dream is that? But look, Southampton should have won this match, but no, in the final minute. And with Ipswich all out of ideas after Kieran McKenna had emptied the bench, up steps captain Sam Morsey to belt a deflected outside of the box shot into Aaron Ramsdale's top corner to give everybody a point that nobody really wants. Tottenham 3, Brentford 1. At the risk of sounding like Ariel Helwani, I think everyone needs to put some respect on Brendan Johnson's name. But look, Spurs fans seem to decide at the start of the season that Johnson was no good, just a horrible, pathetic whimper of a winger. But no, No, I'm sorry, he's the modern day reincarnation of Aaron Lennon, a speedy, direct right winger, somebody who wound up playing 10 years for your club, nearly 400 appearances. No, his end product wasn't great either. Just 30 goals in a decade isn't brilliant. But don't forget, the guy handed you some amazing moments, like setting up a winning goal for Peter Crouch at the San Siro in the Champions League, or scoring the winning goal to secure your first league win against Chelsea in 16 years, which was so important because 15 months later, you had the self-belief to now beat Chelsea in a cup final. Johnson is another Lennon, and a better Lennon, with more of an end product. So leave him alone. And this was a brilliant Spurs win. Brighton 2, Nottingham Forest 2. What a game this was. Lads, I said the Nottingham Forest would win due to a late Morgan Gibbs White screamer. Instead, he gets sent off. But to be fair, if Ramon Sousa had not melted like a chocolate snowman in front of goal, Forest could have stolen a dramatic 3-2 win. But yes, great match with both managers sent off, with Fabian Herzler clearly throwing a kitty temper tantrum, as if his mum had just told him they were having Brussels sprouts for tea. Crystal Palace 0, Man United 0. Horrible, gruesome, ugly watch. Lads, how are Manchester United unable to produce wins at Sellers Park? It's 4 years now since you left the stadium with a win. In fact, your record against Palace full stop has been awful. Since November 2018, these sides have faced off against each other 13 times in the league. The aggregate score has been Manchester United 11, Crystal Palace 14? This shouldn't be. I said it'd be 1-0 Joshua Zirkzee, but no. Just a poor, sluggish watch. Meh. Anyway, that's the video. What do you think? Let me know. What did you think of this game week? Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to give a like, share, and support as always. I'll talk to you in a while.